In this little mini series, I want to talk about magnesium. Evidently, magnesium is all the rage. I did not realize that interest in magnesium has grown over 44% in the last year, and there's been over 2.4 million searches per month about magnesium. So people want to know about it, and so we're going to talk about it. Of note, we did do actually a blog on magnesium. I talked about the different forms of magnesium, this is basically what I'm kind of doing right now. So if you want a written version of this, it'll be available on our website. But magnesium is amazing for lots of reasons. The first thing is 80% of Americans are deficient in magnesium. So if you think about something just from the basic, you want to give people what they're deficient in. And if you don't, you want to throw something against the wall and see what sticks. 80% of people are deficient in magnesium, then just give people magnesium and you'll see lots of people getting better. But magnesium is more important than that. It helps with blood pressure regulation. It actually has a very calming impact on your heart, on your nervous system. There's over 200 different chemical reactions in our body, enzymes, that magnesium is essential for. It's important for insulin resistance, blood pressure control and regulation, nerve function. I remember my training early on, we would use IV magnesium in the ER for people with asthma attacks. High blood pressure, someone comes in with ridiculous blood pressure, give them IV magnesium. Migraine headaches, people would come in, I actually use magnesium now with some of my migraine protocols. It does so many good things. And again, 80% of Americans are deficient in magnesium. As long as your kidneys are functioning, and again, talk with your healthcare provider. I cannot diagnose or treat anything. This is meant for educational purposes only. But if the kidneys are functioning okay, and you take magnesium, if you get too much, you just get diarrhea. So it's a pretty safe thing to take. And the reality is most of us are deficient in it. Then the question is what kind? Magnesium glycinate, which is one of my favorite kinds, has gotten a lot of popularity recently for lots of reasons. You want a magnesium that's a chelate. So it's just magnesium plus something. That's typically versus elemental magnesium, which is like the magnesium chloride, which is what's in Epsom salt and what's in most magnesium that you mine out of the ground. With magnesium glycinate, the glycine actually turns into GABA. So it has a very calming impact on you. So if you're taking magnesium to calm or help you sleep at night, I really like the glycinate form. There's actually a magnesium bisglycinate, which is magnesium plus 2 glycine. So I prefer that one for sleep because it gives you a big GABA, GABA boost. Then there's magnesium citrate, which is not as well absorbed as the glycine, so it's used more for constipation issues. I also will use magnesium citrate to help with kidney stones because the citrate helps alkalize your urine, and which helps prevent calcium oxalate storms and kidney stones from forming. The citrate form also can help with energy production. There's a thing called a redox potential, which is how your cells hold their energy stores, and the citrate actually, with alkalized urine, actually helps maintain that balance. And then the citrate in the alkaline urine also helps excrete heavy metals. So I'll use potassium magnesium citrate when I'm trying to get and that's actually how I finally got my aluminum lead levels undetectable, was using citrate forms of magnesium and potassium. There's magnesium oxide, which is the cheapest form. Zinc oxide and magnesium oxide and titanium oxide are actually white. And if you look at paints, usually titanium oxide, sometimes I use zinc or magnesium, mag oxide, but usually it's titanium oxide is the white thing. So when you see a pill that's white, it's usually like a oxide of some sort, really poorly absorbed, super cheap. I don't tend to like that for all those reasons. There's magnesium taurate, which the taurine actually helps with liver function, bile production. If you have cardiovascular issues, cardiomyopathy, heart issues, the taurine can be super helpful with that. And a lot of adults actually have taurine, particularly males who have taurine deficiencies. So if you have blood pressure issues, over 50 male, the taurine version can be helpful. There's a Neuromag, which is actually a mag-threonate, which has better penetration into your central nervous system. So if you're using it for particularly neurological issues, traumatic brain injury issues, kids with autism, sometimes you can try the threonate. The issue with the threonate is there's not quite as much elemental magnesium, so you have to take more pills and more capsules. That's the one downside. There's a few other less common chelated forms, but those are the main ones. But I personally like magnesium glycinate. It's very popular right now for the reasons I mentioned. So typical dosing, how do you dose it? People ask me this all the time. For adult dosing, it can be anywhere from 200 to 1,000 milligrams. Again, if you get too much, you get diarrhea. When I get migraines, I will do about 600 milligrams of magnesium with something else, whether it's caffeine or aspirin, or other stage if I just take a bunch of magnesium usually and caffeine that usually breaks my migraines because my diet's gotten a lot better. But if you're using it for blood pressure, and if I have patients use it for this, you really have to take it like 4 times a day because magnesium is a calcium channel blocker. And calcium channel blockers can be used for blood pressure, interestingly enough as well. So usually they're going to do that like 200 to 400 milligrams, like 4 times a day. It's not really practical to do that, but some people will attempt to do that. It's not FDA approved either to do that. So it's better to do something once a day. For migraines, I said the dose, you can do a one-time dose, 600 milligrams plus or minus. And then for kids, you basically need it based on the weight. And I would just say talk with your pediatrician or pediatric provider because the weight makes all the difference. And so a 1-year-old will be dosed 100% differently than a 10-year-old. We actually do IV magnesium in our office and have had some pretty good results with some of our patients with migraines, headaches, and it actually helps with mitochondrial function. So some of my POTS patients, combining magnesium has been really super helpful with them. So anyway, that's a little primer on magnesium and how useful it is. Hopefully this was helpful. If you have a topic you'd like to hear more about, just drop it below. Let us know what your thoughts about this are. As we collect them, based on responses, we'll take a deep dive with that as well. So take care and we'll talk to you soon.